Hello and good evening. You are watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. A quick look at stories that are making the headlines tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa today received credentials from 3 new ambassador designates representing Angola, Indonesia and Denmark as Zimbabwe continues to strengthen its diplomatic relations across Africa, Asia and Europe. Details on the story coming up here on Newsplus. We shall give you feedback from stakeholders as the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission continues with consultations on the formulation of the second national anti-corruption strategy. Stay tuned for highlights from the National Assembly question and answer session, where the Minister of Health revealed that the country recruited Cuban pathologists to plug existing gaps in the health sector. And in sports, Zimbabwe cricket has confirmed hosting Afghanistan for a one-off test match and T20 international series later this month, with all fixtures scheduled for Harare Sports Club. Our top story this bulletin, President Emmerson Mnangagwa today received credentials from 3 new ambassador designates representing Angola, Indonesia and Denmark as Zimbabwe continues to strengthen its diplomatic relations across Africa, Asia and Europe. Ibn Mabunda was at State House earlier today.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa today received credentials for ambassador designates from Angola, Indonesia as well as Denmark. First to present his credentials was Angola's ambassador designate, His Excellency Baltazar Diogo Cristovão. Relations between Zimbabwe and Angola have remained warm since the two nations' independence in 1975 and 1980 respectively, anchored on shared liberation values and cooperation within the SADC bloc.
Angola e Zimbabwe.
Angola and Zimbabwe.
Podemos considerar como sendo dois gigantes
We can consider two giants in Africa.
E é por isso que eu estou aqui.
And that is why I'm here.
Para fortalecer,
to strengthen,
primeiro, a amizade,
the friendship,
a cooperação,
the cooperation,
o aspecto político,
diplomático, and diplomacy as well.
Ambassador Cristovão noted that Angola, as Zimbabwe's predecessor in the SADC chairmanship, shares common interests in advancing regional integration and economic growth. He emphasized the importance of bilateral relations in driving development across the Southern African region. President Mnangagwa also received the credentials of Indonesia's ambassador designate, His Excellency Arief Hidayat, who pledged to build on the 29-year relationship between Harare and Jakarta.
And I also report to the presidents that my focus here in Zimbabwe is in the 3 fields. First, to boost the mutual benefit of trade and investment. So not only about the export and import, I am trying my best to relocating the Indonesian company to open the company here. So there will be exchange of technology.
Ambassador Hidayat said his priority is to deepen trade and cooperation, particularly in areas of technology transfer and industrial development. Indonesia, the largest economy in Southeast Asia and a G20 member, is also the world's leading nickel producer, a key component in electric vehicle batteries. With Zimbabwe's vast lithium reserves, both nations see scope for collaboration in the global green energy value chain. Last to present credentials to President Mnangagwa was Denmark's ambassador designate, Her Excellency Karin Poulsen. The new envoy reaffirmed the country's commitment to strengthening ties with Zimbabwe, particularly in trade and investment.
We stood firm by Zimbabwe during the liberation struggle. Today, we have an ambition to increase the commercial footprint of Denmark in Zimbabwe. We have heard the call for more trade and investment from Danish companies that have strongholds in the areas of renewable energy, agro-processing and digital innovation.
Trade between Harare and Copenhagen currently stands at $18 million, down from $40 million in 2018, but Ambassador Poulsen expressed optimism that the figures will rebound as the two countries pursue new opportunities. She also highlighted agriculture, a key pillar of Denmark's economy and Europe's top food production hub, as a priority sector for collaboration alongside emerging areas such as digital innovation. As Zimbabwe welcomes the new envoys, the engagements reflect Harare's ongoing re-engagement thrust, seeking to diversify partnerships and unlock trade, investment, and technology transfer opportunities across continents. Zimbabwe's engagement and re-engagement efforts will continue across Southern Africa, the Asia Pacific, as well as the European Union. Iben Mabunda for ZTN Prime at the State House.
Now, President Mnangagwa is also expected to officiate at the 2025 edition of MineEntra on the 9th of October, as the country's premier mining, engineering and transport expo runs alongside the Africa Infrastructure Built Environment Conference, AfriConfix. Now, the combined exhibition scheduled for the 8th until the 10th of October at the Zimbabwe International Exhibition and Conference Smart City are set to amplify cross-sectoral engagement, draw a wider pool of stakeholders, and foster stronger synergies between mining and infrastructure. MineEntra, running under the theme Beyond Extraction, Sustaining the Future of Mining, has attracted more than 240 exhibitors, including international players from China, India, South Africa, and the United Kingdom. Now, ZITF chairperson Busisa Moyo said that preparations for the event are now at an advanced stage.
The session will also delve into critical areas such as smart city design, climate resilient infrastructure, inclusive urban planning, innovation in construction technologies. It is a strategic response to the pressing need for modern, sustainable, and people-centered infrastructure in Zimbabwe and the region. Registration to exhibit and visit these two events is still ongoing through our offices in Bulawayo and Harare, as well as online via our official portal, www.zitfevents.com. We encourage interested participants to take advantage of this window to secure participation and take full advantage of the opportunities that these exhibitions present. In convening these events, we recognize that the future of mining and infrastructure lies in collaboration. We therefore encourage all stakeholders, large-scale and small-scale miners, service providers, academia, investors, and community leaders to actively participate in MineEntra and AfriConfix 2025.
Now, AfriConfix is themed Smart Moves Powering Zimbabwe's Infrastructure Evolution and will focus on climate resilient and sustainable infrastructure, smart city design, and inclusive urban planning. It will be officially opened on the 8th of October by Transport and Infrastructural Development Minister Felix Mona. In other news, President Emmerson Mnangagwa earlier today appointed Advocate Shepard Maniwi as Executive Secretary of the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, effective the 30th of September. Advocate Maniwi has served as senior advisor to several parliamentary portfolio committees, played a key role in drafting Zimbabwe's 2013 constitution, and led the Zimbabwe chapter of the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption. He has also overseen peace-building initiatives at the National Peace and Reconciliation Commission and strengthened electoral governance as a commissioner of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. ZAC says that it is confident that under his leadership, the Commission will reach new heights in promoting integrity, accountability, and the national fight against corruption. Meanwhile, stakeholders gathered in Harare for consultations on the second National Anti-Corruption Strategy, with whistleblower protection and granting prosecuting powers to the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission dominating those discussions. The anti-corruption strategy is set to direct Zimbabwe's anti-corruption initiatives for the upcoming 5 years. This blueprint is currently being formulated through comprehensive consultations involving all 10 provinces. Our correspondent Tafaras Wachiwe has more.
The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZAC, is spearheading the formulation of the second National Anti-Corruption Strategy, a 5-year blueprint aimed at confronting the scourge of corruption head-on. The strategy will rest on a multi-pillar framework to enhance transparency, accountability, and integrity across sectors.
As we embark on this consultative process, I am pleased to announce that NAT 2 will be anchored on 4 pillars: public, legal reform, institutional reform, and enforcement.
Globally, corruption remains a massive economic drain. In late 2024, the World Economic Forum estimated that over $3.6 trillion United States dollars is lost annually to graft. In Zimbabwe, the Prosecutor General Justice Lois Matanda Moyo is on record saying the country is losing over $1.8 billion United States dollars annually through corruption and illicit financial flows. To strengthen international cooperation in fighting graft, ZAC has signed a memorandum of understanding with global investigative bodies to enhance cross-border investigations and asset recovery.
We also made strides in international cooperation and signed the memorandum of understanding with other investigating agencies around the world. International cooperation is important in ensuring mutual legal assistance, since most proceeds of corruption are spirited to foreign lands.
The fight against corruption extends beyond enforcement agencies. Public whistleblowers play a pivotal role, yet their safety remains a pressing concern. In countries like South Africa, whistleblowers have faced intimidation or worse, death. ZAC sees whistleblower protection as an effective instrument to combat corruption.
In the absence of witness or whistleblower protection legislation, the public will be reluctant to report cases of corruption for fear of victimization. And as you picked from the consultant, he actually mentioned that corruption fights back. So for those people that are willing to report corruption, in most cases, they are actually victimized. We've heard of cases, especially in South Africa, where whistleblowers have actually been killed.
Legal reform remains a priority. Currently, ZAC lacks prosecution powers and must hand over cases to enforcement bodies, a setup the Commission believes creates procedural bottlenecks.
The bureaucracy of handing over investigations to another agency to the state, why can't ZAC itself, complete with, proceed with its files?
Consultations for Zimbabwe's second national anti-corruption strategy continue with the goal to identify corruption risks and learn from the previous strategy. Upcoming consultations are scheduled for Lupane, Kwanda, Masvingo, Chinoi, Marondera and Bindura. These inclusive sessions aim to ensure that the new strategy is representative, effective and enforceable. Tavares Buchiwe for ZTN Prime.
You are watching Newsplus. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth. This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. 3 Cuban forensic pathologists started work in Zimbabwe today after being recruited by government to cover a critical shortage of professionals in that field. This was revealed during the National Assembly's question and answer session earlier on today. More details in the following report.
Responding to a question posed by Chikanga legislator Lynette Karenyi on why postmortems for especially murder cases are being referred to Harare and taking a long time to be completed, Health and Childcare Minister Douglas Mombeshora revealed that Zimbabwe has just recruited 3 forensic pathologists from Cuba to conduct forensic postmortems.
We have just recruited 3 more forensic pathologists from Cuba, and they are supposed to start work today, the 1st of October. These will actually help us in terms of carrying out forensic postmortems.
Postmortems for criminal cases such as murder are conducted by specialist forensic pathologists only, as opposed to ordinary pathologists. Zimbabwe only had one qualified forensic pathologist in the whole country.
As a result, it was very difficult for one forensic pathologist to move around the country. And actually in other hospitals, especially our district hospitals, the mortuaries are not equipped with the equipment to carry out forensic pathology. As a result, the bodies had to be moved either to the Salem Garden,
Minister Mombeshwara said this critical shortage of specialist forensic pathologists is most likely being worsened by brain drain. He also noted that there seemed to be a lack of interest by Zimbabwean medical professionals to specialize in forensic pathology. Following this revelation, legislators were keen to know what the government is doing to curb brain drain.
Why the government is not considering increasing and making the salary for this profession to be lucrative, so that we keep our own people instead of having expatriates, and at least to lower the people who left the country and come back and work home. Does the ministry have any plan to do that?
The health minister said plans are in place through the newly established Health Services Commission to review salaries and working conditions of medical professionals with a view to offer them lucrative packages that discourage them from leaving the country. Cheryl Mujenjema for ZTN News at Parliament.
Now, over 60% of Zimbabwe's workforce rely on informal jobs or are self-employed. These ventures put food on the table but rarely come with structured retirement plans. The result is too many retirees leaning on their children for support, fueling black tax and stalling generational progress. Now, the Insurance and Pensions Commission is trying to change that with micropensions. Since 2023, it has registered 4 schemes aimed at the informal sector. Our business correspondent, Melissa Chachkobo, gives us the detail.
Back in 2009, Alice Julius, owner of Trends Fashions, watched the money in her bank account vanish overnight.
Takangomuka zvakunzi ma00 aslashwa. Mari kumabhengi akusisina. Apa inda ndiri kumusha kuzotsvaga mari yebhazi kuti ndiuye kuno kutauni kuuya kuPSB kuti nditore mari yangu. Kuwana mari akusisina kana sendi.
To this day, she struggles to trust formal financial institutions. Her retirement plan is tangible: real estate.
Ndikuinvesta mari yangu through kutengawo mastains, ndovakisa, ndoisa maloja. Kana ndazochembera ndisisina pekutangira, dzimba dzangu idzodzo dzichandichengeta. Vana vangu vanowana chinovachengeta.
It's a sentiment echoed by Storm Makombe, owner of Big Number Stores.
Maria yatataita haijashande. Then what's next? Tsukuti maybe zvaitika wakana pa 45 or pa 55. Yes, wakasave all these years. Unozoita sei? You understand? So far I prefer kugara nemari yangu, kuisa mari yangu pandofila kuti inokwanisa kuzoita sei, ndokwanisa kuzoiwana pandenge ndichida.
And for Wellington Murombedzi, owner of Glam Squad, the goal is a chain of beauty parlors that will generate passive income. Like many in the cold cash industry, former financial products feel distant, yet he believes a micro-pension could be a smart way to secure his future.
Siyana nekudhara, we, our parents' generation, I think even up to now they are still in panic mode kuti vaise mari yavo kuzvinhu zvakadaro, but we're a new generation, a generation of technology, a generation of electronic gadgets and stuff, so why not? They know what they are doing.
Small to medium enterprises keep Zimbabwe's economy moving, from street corners to creative shops like this. Making money is the most important thing, and retirement is the last thing on their minds.
Without structured retirement plans, old age poverty looms. Think of millions depending on their children. The black tax cycle is viciously repeated. To break it, IPEC is rolling out micro-pensions designed to accommodate irregular incomes.
We would want a framework that speaks to the needs of the informal sector. So what it provides then is people can have two accounts. Yes, you are contributing, you can contribute into a short-term account and a long-term account. A short-term account is essentially a saving account, just like a bank. You can withdraw anytime after 1 year, the full amount for contingent use. It could be on business, it could be cash flow issues.
A micro pension scheme for the informal sector could unlock real financial inclusion. Beyond simply offering a retirement cushion, such products can help people build credit histories, access affordable loans, and reduce their dependence on family support in old age. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatkobo in Harare.
Harare's 2 decades-long water crisis could soon be eased with the construction of the long-awaited Kunzi-Harare water pipeline having finally begun. The multi-million-dollar project will convey water from Kunzi Dam in Goromonzi to the capital. Our reporter Lincoln Towindo visited the site and he filed this report.
Work is underway on the 48-kilometer Kunzi-Harare water pipeline, a project many hope will turn the tide on Harare's crippling water shortages. Once complete, the pipeline will channel up to 240 megaliters of raw water daily from Kunzi Dam to a new treatment plant in Donnybrook, boosting supplies to a city where demand far outstrips supply. The project, worth $52 million is being built by local contractor Red and Bulk for the Zimbabwe National Water Authority. Construction is expected to take 2 years in line with the completion of Kunzi Dam, which is due to start impounding water during the next rainy season.
The pipeline is, we have also some offtakes along the way for Majuru, Growth Point. And also we are going to have other tables for farmers in order for us to create a green belt for Harare.
The pipeline is a central component of the Harare East Water Augmentation Project, which had stalled for years, largely due to financial constraints. Engineer Nwase expressed confidence that the project was on track for completion by the end of next year, provided the current funding commitment is maintained.
It's for, Harare has some perennial water challenges since a decade ago, and Kunzi Harare is coming in to augment the water supply for Harare. So we are going to have increase the water supply for Harare, and then that's the first benefit for Kunzi pipeline.
The mega project includes laying a 1.4 meter wide glass reinforced polyester pipeline, 2 booster pump stations, and trenches that run 3 meters deep. So far, about 30 workers are on site, with the number set to rise to 250 as work intensifies.
We are going to be conveying 240 megaliters of water per day to a treatment plant at Donnybrook.
158 million cubic meters of water, enough to support both domestic use and irrigation. When complete, it is expected to bring long-term relief to Harare's residents, boost farming along the corridor, and strengthen the city's resilience against droughts worsened by climate change.
In other news, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces has pledged to facelift structures previously used as quarantine facilities in Masvingo province during the COVID-19 era and transform them into fully fledged drug and substance abuse rehabilitation centers. Masvingo Provincial Affairs and Devolution Secretary Dr. Edmo Pazhakavambwa highlighted that the refurbishment of the facilities by ZDF in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Childcare is in line with the implementation of the multi-sectoral drugs and substance abuse plan. Dr. Pazhakavambwa said that more than 3,000 stakeholders and individuals are expected to participate in the awareness march that is slated for Thursday in Masvingo.
The plan gives strategic direction to the nation's response to the drug and substance abuse challenge and ensures that all individuals, families, and communities are fully supported as the country moves towards Vision 2030, leaving no one and no place behind. To achieve the goals of this plan, implementation of the multi-sectorial DSA will be informed by the following pillars: supply, reduction, demand reduction, harm reduction, treatment and rehabilitation, community reintegration, policy and legal environment, enforcement rather, media and communication, resource mobilization.
In energy news, Energy and Power Development Minister July Moyo has underscored the importance of energy as the engine for Africa's growth story. Speaking at the Powering Africa's Industrial Revolution Roundtable on the sidelines of Africa Energy Week in Cape Town, South Africa, the minister said reliable and affordable power supply is central to Africa's drive towards competitiveness, industrialization, and economic growth. He pointed out that while renewable energy sources are expanding, heavy industries still require secure and predictable supply to thrive.
Africa is at a critical juncture. Our economies are growing in most countries. Our populations are young and dynamic, and our industrial sectors are poised for significant expansion. Yet energy remains both a constraint and an opportunity. For every factory, every mine, and every processing plant, reliable power is the difference between competitiveness.
Minister Moyo concluded his address by stressing the need for balance in Africa's energy mix, calling for renewables to expand alongside conventional baseload power. He said that this approach would guarantee stability for the industry while keeping the continent on track with sustainability goals.
We must be candid. Renewable energy alone, especially in its current technological maturity, cannot yet carry the entire burden of industrialization in Africa. Solar power, while abundant, remains intermittent. Hydropower is vulnerable now to climate variabilities and drought cycles. And in Zimbabwe and our neighbors in Zambia, we have experienced the most devastating climate change-induced water shortages that has impacted on our power generation in the mighty Zambezi River on Kariba Dam.
A workshop aimed at enhancing institutional capacity and service delivery in Zimbabwe's public sector kicked off today in Mutare, bringing together stakeholders from government, labor, and social welfare sectors. The capacity assessment consultation meeting seeks to validate findings and gather expert insights on strengthening performance. Discussions focused on identifying areas for improvement and harnessing collective expertise to address challenges in the public sector. Now, the workshop underscores the government's commitment to promoting effective governance, with outcomes expected to inform policy reforms and capacity building initiatives.
This stakeholder consultation workshop is more than a meeting. It is a platform for genuine engagement, a vital opportunity to listen, learn, and integrate your insights into the policies and programs that the Ministry will implement in the coming year and beyond. Let me reaffirm that government remains steadfast in its commitment to consensus building. I believe in the power of agreements rooted in mutual respect.
At that same event, the Minister of State for Municipal and Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Meshek Mugaza, emphasized the importance of collaborative efforts in driving development and ensuring that government services are responsive to the needs of the people.
The field of human capital planning and development is the cornerstone and the engine upon which the success of the national development strategy is anchored. Our President, His Excellency Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, has emphasized that decent work is essential to production processes and value chains across all sectors of the economy. Based on the input that has been shared from the validation exercise, I'm also advised that this workshop will be...
You're watching Newsplus. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this.
Welcome wherever you are. And Mamouche, room to shoot. He well and truly did. It's an opportunity. What a shot to Shooter!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Thank you so much for staying with us. Katena village in Chiweshe has been plunged into chaos after violent clashes erupted between villagers and members of the Marange Apostolic sect over the occupation of 36 hectares of pasture land. With the case now in court, the two parties remain at loggerheads. We get more from this report.
The disputed land, allocated to the sect by village head Sabuku Taurai Marangwanda, was allegedly earmarked for construction of a school, according to the villagers. They are standing firmly on their position that the rolling pastures are a sacred ground, an inheritance they insist belongs to their children and grandchildren.
So far as naga yani zero istakatorwa tikaenda position dzine mhosva tikasvika position tasvika position rewede akauya akaona mapepa akabvunza kuti mhosva yamasungirwa ndei akaverenga mapepa akaona pasina kana chiri kanyorwa kuti tasungirwei
vamwe vane zuro vakasungiswa futi kupiwa mapisi order munda medu vapiwa mapisi order munda medu vanhu nyaya iyo isati yambotaurwa kuti kana kuti yapasa kuti tapiwa mapisi order kuti tisaende muground takaona magredha auya nezuro greda rikagredha murodhi umu takaedza kumira murodhi vaiedza kuda kuti tsika vegredha ivavo vamwe vari kukoti kuconcession isusu tiri muground.
As the fight raged on, women with babies tied to their backs wailed as they tried to shield their husbands and sons. On the other hand, white-robed apostolic members stood their ground, clutching rods and chains. The clash, villagers say, was sparked after the sect ignored repeated pleas to stop developments on the land. Tempers flared further when the sect sought a peace order against the villagers. In response, the community filed a high court challenge. At its center is 95-year-old Joel Nyakochko, a Marenge elder accused by his own kin of inviting the church into the village. He insists his decision was purely for the greater good. The conflict has torn through families, the community, and religious circles, and now all wait for the High Court to decide and finally bring resolution and maybe peace to the deeply divided community.
In news from beyond our borders, South African opposition politician Julius Malema has been found guilty of illegal possession of a gun and firing it in public, offences which carry a minimum sentence of 15 years in prison. In 2018, a video emerged showing the EFF leader using a semi-automatic rifle to fire several shots in the air during his party's 5th anniversary celebrations that are held in South Africa's Eastern Cape province. He was charged alongside his former bodyguard, Adrian Steinman, who was acquitted of that charge. A UN Security Council session on the Democratic Republic of the Congo highlighted significant tensions between Kinshasa and Kigali, with both sides seeking international intervention. Now, discussions focused on the ongoing violence in the eastern DRC, the implementation of the Washington Peace Agreement from June, and the future of the UN peacekeeping mission. The DRC's representative stressed that the agreement's importance for peace, while Rwanda's representative emphasized the need for a structured peace process in order to address underlying issues such as governance, exclusion, armed groups, and ethnic tensions.
L'accord de Washington et la déclaration de principe de Doha abondent dans le même sens car le retrait des troupes rwandaises, la fin de leur appui au M23 et le retour de l'autorité de l'État congolais sur toutes les zones occupées constituent des conditions non négociables pour une paix véritable.
The peace process provides a structured and inclusive framework for dialogue aimed at tackling the root causes of conflict, including issues of governance, exclusion, armed groups, and ethnic tensions. Rwanda sees hope in these efforts, but their success depends on full commitment and genuine political will from all parties involved. This is a one-time chance to bring lasting peace to the DRC, and the Security Council must lend its unequivocal support.
Collapsed buildings and debris-strewn streets mark the devastation that was left by the 6.9 magnitude earthquake that struck off the coast of Cebu province in the Philippines, killing at least 69 people. According to the Philippine Office of Civil Defense, at least 69 fatalities and 147 injuries have been confirmed, with the death toll expected to still rise. Authorities reported 22 buildings damaged across that region. Now, the powerful tremor hit near Bogo in the northern part of Cebu Island at around 10 p.m., triggering power outages and significant structural damage. Displaced residents in Gaza have reacted to the U.S.'s 20-point peace proposal with misgivings and called for an immediate end to the bloodshed of Palestinians in the war-torn strip. At a joint press conference after talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the White House earlier this week, U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled a 20-point Gaza peace plan. It includes an immediate ceasefire and the release of all Israeli detainees within 72 hours. Trump emphasized that Netanyahu had endorsed the proposal. He also vowed that if Hamas does not accept the plan, the U.S. will provide its full backing to Israel's attack in Gaza.
سنتين في الحرب والقرار كان بيقول لك انه نزع السلاح من قطاع غزة. بنفس الوقت انا بقول لك مع القرار ومش مع القرار. مع القرار لانه احنا خلص بكفي لانه تعبنا، صراحة احنا تعبنا. وبنفس الوقت مش مع القرار لانه احنا اصحاب الارض ولو نزع سلاحنا بعتبر خضوع واستسلام.
اعتقد انه وقف الشلال الدم الفلسطيني هو الأهم بالنسبة لنا في الوقت الحالي. المقاومة الفلسطينية ليست وليدة هذه الحرب ولا وليدة سنوات ماضية، وليدة المقاومة الفلسطينية.
And over in the U.S., lawmakers failed to reach an agreement on a funding bill, setting the stage for the federal government's first shutdown in nearly 7 years. The Republican-led proposal requiring 60 votes to advance failed twice, with 55 in favor and 45 against. Now, with no deal reached, government operations began shutting down at midnight on Wednesday. The shutdown halts many federal functions and is expected to affect hundreds of thousands of workers, recalling the record 35-day closure during Donald Trump's presidency in the 2018-2019 era. Now we talk business news. It comes up after this.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
We come back now with business news. It has been a reporting galore with several companies releasing their results ahead of the 30th of September regulatory deadline. ProPlastics Limited posted a profit of $348,000 for the half year ended 30 June 2025. This is compared to a $71,900 loss in the same period last year. Revenue rose to 12% to $9.6 million from $8.6 million in the prior period, and this was driven by a 14% increase in sales volumes, reflecting stronger demand for pipes, tanks, and fittings across agriculture, mining, and infrastructure segment. Now, in light of the results, financial analyst Tapiona Shikserika had this to say.
By 4% from 8.5 to 9.5 in recent quarter as compared to prior period, and net export contributed around 3% to total revenue, and the biggest contributor to revenue growth is emanating from sales growth, which grew by around 14%. The company is doing well. Strong demand outlook from agriculture and mining sector is their major consumers of the company's products. It's a good thing, and the increase in tank production capacity position for the company, as we noticed in their financials.
Retail giant OK Zimbabwe has reported a 53% decline in revenues, attributing the slump to supply chain disruptions, a liquidity crunch, and intensifying competition from the informal sector. We get the details in this report.
OK Group revenue declined by 53% to 240 million United States dollars for the year ended 31 March 2025, compared to the prior year outrun of 511 million United States dollars. The decline was linked to several factors, including exchange rate controls that distorted pricing and delayed supplier payments, which led to disruptions in product availability.
Retail is also suffering through the supply chain issues. The suppliers are demanding US dollar upfront for their products, and all those things are affecting the stocking of the group, and now the group is understocked. The stock is not sufficient enough for their operation, and all those issues are affecting the top line of all the company in terms of debt restructuring of payment terms with their suppliers. They'll be able to avoid those understocking for their products in their shelves. And if the group tries to align the pricing with the informal sector, I believe they will be able to ward off a competition which comes from the informal sector.
The retail giant recorded a loss position of 29 million United States dollars owing to operational challenges and reported poor decision making by the previous management. The company carried out a comprehensive impairment review of all cash generating units due to constrained operational capacity. It's recognizing an impairment of 10 million United States dollars. In a bid to stay afloat, the group carried out a successfully, which generated about 20 million United States dollars, extending a lifeline to the retailer.
It was effective to a point, but unfortunately it could not offset the massive revenue decline. The impairment charges and constrained capital expenditure also show how squeezed operations have been. If this trend were to continue unchecked, it would cast real doubt on the company's ability to sustain operations and retain supplier confidence. That said, the rights issue completed in July, which raised about 20 million, is a critical lifeline. It gives the business breathing room to settle debts, unlock supplier credit, and start restocking strategically. The planned 10.5 million property disposals on a sale and leaseback basis will also inject cash while keeping the business operational in key locations. The capital raising initiatives, if managed carefully, could be the turning point.
In a streamlining move, some of the group's properties for sale include supermarket buildings, which will be sold and leased back to ensure the group's continued operation in its strategic store locations. The next 12 months under new old management will be defining for OK Zimbabwe as it seeks to navigate Zimbabwe's microeconomic waters. For ZTM Prime, I am Hannah Mapisire.
As we continue looking at company results, Simbisa Brands delivered a 7% revenue growth to $306.5 million. That's from $286 million last year. The increase was supported by a 4% rise in customer volumes and a 3% lift in average spend across its market. Simbisa expanded its footprint with 47 new stores. Now, profit after tax grew 6% to $17 million. Shareholders will receive a final dividend of 0.45 US cents per share, bringing the total annual payout to $1.07 US cents per share. Now, BAT, or popularly known as British American Tobacco, Zimbabwe, posted a strong turnaround in the half year to 30 June 2025, recording a profit before tax of 179 million ZiG. That's a sharp recovery from 286 million ZiG loss that was in the same period last year. But now, despite a 28% drop in revenue to about 350.5 million ZiG due to lower sales volumes and a shift in pricing strategy that's from ZiG to USD, the company's profitability was bolstered by improved cost management and foreign exchange stability. Still in business, Masimba Holdings, a Zimbabwe Stock Exchange listed company, has recorded a 20% decrease in after-tax profit to $2.9 million. That's for the half year ended 30 June 2025. This is down from $3.6 million in the comparative period. During the half year's presentation at the company's head office in Willowville, Harare, Masimba Holdings reviewed that profitability was weighed down by higher overheads arising from a staff rationalization exercise. And now for a quick look at entertainment news.
The Phoenix Podcast has always brought you the best of the best.
I missed on that blessing, but I also regained it in some way.
In seasons 1 and 2, we introduced you to the industry's brightest stars, the ones at the top of their game, the creme de la creme. But season 3 promises to be even more exciting. We're bringing you even more fascinating guests, including the renowned farmer, Patrick Matadi. And to top it all off, our very own host, Ken Sharp, will be stepping out of the interviewer's chair and into the hot seat as he gets interviewed by a surprise guest host.
From the boss, we've been beaten, but we're not beaten yet. We can still rise.
Konapo Konapo, Ipapo Ipapo, by ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Now, instead of entertainment, we now take a look at some sporting action instead. Zimbabwe Cricket has confirmed hosting Afghanistan for a one-off test match and T20 international series later on this month, with all fixtures scheduled for Harare Sports Club. The tour will open with the test from the 20th to the 24th of October, marking Zimbabwe's 10th test of a busy 2025 calendar that has already seen them face Ireland, Bangladesh, England, South Africa, and New Zealand. The teams will then shift their focus to the shorter format for T20Is on the 29th and 31st of October and the 2nd of November. Afghanistan's visit comes less than a year after their last tour of Zimbabwe. Still with cricket, the Maribor Cricket Club, MCC, will tour Zimbabwe this October for the first time in 60 years, marking a historic return since their last visit in 1964-1965. As cricketing and cultural ties between Zimbabwe and England are continuing to strengthen. MCC are the custodians of the laws of the game and the owners of the iconic Lord's Cricket Ground. The prestigious English club will play 7 matches across Kwekwe and Harare. Now, the tour begins with 2 T20s on the 6th of October and a 50-over match on the 7th of October against provincial side Rhinos at Kwekwe Sports Club. The tourists will then face Zimbabwe in a 3-day first-class fixture from the 10th to the 12th of October at Harare Sports Club, before concluding with 3 T20s against the Zimbabwe Academy at Takashinga Cricket Club. That's on the 14th of October, and the final match is on the 15th of October. Now, Zimbabwe Cricket Managing Director Give Momakoni welcomed MCC's return, describing it as a momentous occasion for both cricketing as well as diplomatic ties. In football, head coach Michael Nees has called for a change to how local teams as well as the Warriors approach games. Nees believes that clubs should do away with the safety-first approach so that strikers can flourish, thereby easing goal-scoring challenges that are faced by the Warriors.
It's not just a national team problem or challenge. The goal scoring rate in Zimbabwe is in general too low. You can go almost through any team. You look at the log leaders in your table, I think 38 goals out of 29 or 30 matches. If I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, 1 or 2 goals may be different. Enough? No chance. No chance. There's a top 6 team which has, I think, 28 goals, 28 goals, less than 1 goal in 1 game. It's not enough. It's an effort which, again, in the short run, I try to fix. We need to create scoring opportunities. We need to be more composed, more calm on the goal. Yes. But in the long run, we also have to look maybe to change the philosophy of football more from a safety first approach to a more courage football type. The under 17 had problems with it. You can go basically through all. Zimbabwe, it's not just a one thing.
Still on this, the Warriors have scored 5 goals in 8 matches, and Nees called for continued efforts towards changing the approach.
We need to work that. You had Peter and Globu before, you had Mushekwi Adam Globu, then you had the young Knowledge Musona. At the moment, this is not, you don't have that. No? But what does it mean we have to put our head in the sand? Every player has quality. Maybe you must distribute the responsibility on more shoulders. It can also help. We need to look to compensate for that lack. We need to create scoring opportunities, and sometimes it's a bit weird. When you break that cycle, it suddenly goes like that. So you must not wait for your luck that it arrives. You must work for it, because I don't think luck is just arriving, maybe here and there, but at the end you have to work for it. And we must just continue to work for it, and that I'm pretty sure the players have good skills. The players have quality to score goals, and it's just a matter of time that we can break that. And we have to work on that, and I don't doubt sooner or later we have to break that cycle. But in the long run, it will be a national challenge to improve that situation, definitely.
The Zimbabwe senior men's football team have bolstered their squad after roping in former Warriors defender Gaetano Tembo into the technical team. The newly appointed assistant coach, Tembo, is grateful for the chance to be part of the setup and hopes to offer something quite different.
Well, First of all, I just want to thank also the President, Mr. Magwizi, Head of Technical, the Chair, as well as the Head Coach, Mr. Michael Nis, for affording me this opportunity, to come and work in this project, which I feel that it's a project that is very close to my heart, and I'm very excited, that I'm, coming back to. I think this is the first time since I started coaching, and I only offered from my playing career, but now I wanna try and offer something different to the country in terms of also coaching.
Tembo is looking forward to share ideas with the Warriors players and is excited to be back within the Warriors fold.
We walk in the same path, and we've been through what they are going through as well, so we can be able to to share ideas from a different level, in terms of understanding. So hopefully we'll be able to make a difference, to the young players, for them to prosper in terms of their career. It is very exciting, for me, to go back as well now as a coach, assistant coach of the national team, and to embark into the project, hopefully doing well, during the AFCON.
And with that, we conclude this evening's bulletin. Thank you so much for making the time and for joining us on Newsplus this Wednesday. My name is Faith Nyawade. We leave you with the weather forecast. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Let's Geo go!
Can no one tell me a good story?
Mash saves the day.
That's cool!
If you think that's interesting, wait till you see this.
Boy Robo to the rescue! There's a living dinosaur in the woods! That was awesome!
Welcome along to the couch here on ZTM Prime. It is the home of Zimbabwean football. And we like to get comfortable with the couch squad. David Sengu, Veronica Gwaze, you guys are looking too comfortable. I'm trying to think of a disruptive way to get the show started. But David, how are you, man? How are you?
I'm very well.
Have you recovered?
From what?
The derby defeat, ka?
Mr. Teacher, I've already recovered.
Yeah, so what are you saying for what? Like you don't know?
No, I'm asking because I want to know.
He's now a coach, so
I
obviously
want
the
to know.
recovery period is so quick.
I've already recovered, and I'm looking forward to the Simba Bora game on Saturday.
Can you upset the apple cart? Obviously, Simba Bora also tailed in between their legs after getting knocked out of Africa. They come back home. They need to make up ground in Scotland, who would have played a day earlier.
I think the guys, they're just preparing for Saturday's game. You know, everyone is looking forward to Saturday's game, of course, and see how Caps is going to be performing. And every Caps fan